Hello, it is 9 p.m. in Arts. This time to English New Edition. For tonight's headlines, we have the Burma site on its way to World Heritage. International scene, global trade expected to decrease by 1.5%. Welcome to our newsroom. After 5 days of an official visit, reaching meetings and institutional exchange, the Senate delegation is from the Federal Republic of Somalia was received this Wednesday, 16 April 2025, by the National Assembly of Djibouti for a high-level working session held under the chairmanship of Her Excellency Safiya Almi Jibril, acting President of the National Assembly. The working meeting brought together the member of the Bureau, the chairman of the Standing Committee, and the Secretary General of the National Assembly as part of a meeting to share best practices and exchange legislative experiences. Through this initiative, the two institutions reaffirmed their commitment to modern, inclusive parliamentary governance based on effective mechanisms for representation, legislation, and control. The discussions focused on a number of strategic themes, including the role of a standing committee in drafting legislation and monitoring government actions, parliamentary control instruments, and their implementation in a context of a consolidation of the rule of law policies and openness and legislative process, the promotion of gender equality through mechanism for the representation of women parliamentarians. The meeting laid the foundations for structured interparliamentary cooperation between the two institutions through the promotion of regular exchanges, the possibility of cross-training, and the introductions of joint initiatives. The National Assembly hosted from April 13 to 17, 2025, a delegation led by the President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Somalia, His Excellency Abdi Hashi Abdullahi, as part of an official visit aimed at strengthening interparliamentary relations between the two legislative institutions. At the end of the 4-day working visit, the acting President of the National Assembly, Safiya Almi Jibril, accompanying the members of the Bureau and members of the Djibouti Somalia Friendship Group, went today to the Djibouti International Airport to welcome the departure of her Somali counterpart and his delegation. The Secretary General of the National Assembly, Ismail Gulal, was also present alongside the ambassador representing the diplomatic authorities of the two countries. During this visit, the two parties held several institutional working sessions, expressing their common desire to structure a lasting parliamentary partnership based on the exchanges of expertise, legislative dialogue, and coordination on a major regional challenges, including governance, security, integration, and sustainable development in the Horn of Africa. A highlight of this mission is the trip to Alta Allah with the Somali delegation to pay their respects at the historic site that hosted the National Reconciliation Conference of the year 2000, organized by the Republic of Djibouti under the auspices of the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh. The conference on climate change researches and resilience concluded this Tuesday at Eila through a mechanism for the representative. After 3 intense days of reflections, this Tuesday at Ayla Grand Hotel in Djibouti, after 3 intense days of reflection, high-level dialogue, and collaboration between international experts, researchers, policymakers, and regional institutions, hosted by the Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed. This international meeting brought together leading specialists to explore major issues: climate monitoring, the resilience of food and water systems, the energy transition, biodiversity preservation, and the impact of environmental pollutant on health. The conference converged on a clear call for collective, immediate, and coordinated action. Research, innovation, and international cooperation are the pillar of a global response to climate challenges. In just a few years, this observatory has become a credible and dynamic player in the African scientific landscape, said the director of OREC. Was delighted to say about OREC, also announcing that this establishment is already at the origin of promising researches on the links between environment and health, particularly in the identification of early biomarkers linked to chronic disease and cancers. In this speech, the director also emphasized that beyond the world-renowned expertise characterizing it, OREC carries out missions of public interest and works in close collaboration with the rural communities, putting scientists at the services of their needs, adaptations of agropastoral practices, resources management, strengthening of local capacities. For his part, the Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, said that there will no viable future without environmental stability, nor shared prosperity without climate justice, declared the Minister of Higher Education, for whom Africa's ability to avoid indefinitely suffering the harmful consequences on global consequences of global warming lies in the prospect of its access to an integrated environment of cooperation and mutual assistance on a global scale. I am convinced that Africa can become a central global player in the energy transition, he said, specifying that this situation will require a fair international partnership based on trust, knowledge sharing, access to financing, and genuine recognition of the African contributions to the global efforts. A workshop was held at the Djibouti Palace Campus Key to share the result of research into elderly people with reduced mobility. The event, organized by the National Social Security Fund (CNSS) in collaboration with the Institute IRICA, brought together representatives of public and semi-public institutions and associations to discuss the issues of aging, social protection, and health. The workshop was part of a research program launched in April 2023, following a framework agreement signed between CNSS and IRICA, aimed at gaining a deeper understanding of the challenges of aging, particularly for older peoples who are losing their mobility. The meeting was opened by Mr. Abdulkader Dini Abdulkader, Acting Director General of the CNSS, and Ms. Zahra Yusuf Qayad, Director General of IRICA, who praised the joint efforts of the researchers and institutions involved in this project. During the session, around 10 researchers presented the conclusions of their work. These results were then discussed with the participants with the aim of enriching them with the file observations, practical comments, and concrete recommendations. The workshop also served to strengthen the links between the scientific research and development of public policies in order to better meet the growing need of the elderly in Djibouti. Mr. Abdulkader Dini Abdulkader, Acting Director General of CNSS, said that CNSS and IRICA reiterated their desire to pursue this collaborative initiative to ensure more appropriate and sustainable care for the country's vulnerable population. These results were then discussed with the participants with the aim of enriching them with the file observations, practical comments, and concrete recommendations. The workshop also served to strengthen the links between scientific research and the development of public policies in order to better meet the growing needs of the elderly in Djibouti. The workshop, organized by the Ministry of Youth and Culture to prepare the applications for the Aburma site to be listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site within the framework of the promotion and preservation of the national cultural heritage. A workshop devoted to the preparations of the file for the inscriptions of the Aburma site on UNESCO World Heritage List was held from 15 to 16 April 2025 at the Scale Hotel, organized by the Ministry of Youth and Culture. The workshop brought together national and international heritage experts, representatives of the Ministry of Culture, local authorities, researchers, as well as members of local communities and civil society associations. The main objective was to consolidate the scientific, historical, and cultural data relating to the Aburma site, known for its exceptional rock engraving, testifying to the wealth of ancient civilizations in the region. The work focused on identifying the criteria for the site's outstanding universal values, defining its protection zone, as well as sustainable conservation and management strategies. Fruitful discussions help to enrich the technical files and mobilize the stakeholders in a participatory and inclusive approach. The representative of UNESCO said that the main objectives was to consolidate the scientific, historical, and cultural data relating to the Aburma site, known for its exceptional rock engraving testifying to the wealth of ancient civilizations in the region. The work focused on identifying the criteria for the site's outstanding universal value, defining its protection zone, as well as sustainable conservation and management strategies. The representative of the Ministry of Youth and Culture said that this workshop marked a crucial step towards international recognition of the Aburma site, a veritable archaeological treasure, and reaffirms the commitment of the Djibouti's authority to preserving the country's cultural and natural heritage. The Minister of Muslim Affairs concluded the awareness raising session for the Djiboutian pilgrims this morning at the Palace of the People. The Minister of Muslim Affairs and Waqf brought to a close the awareness raising session for Djibouti pilgrims that was launched yesterday as part of the preparations for the Hajj 2025 season. On this second and final day, the third and fourth group of Djibouti pilgrims preparing to perform the fifth pillar of Islam this year took an active part in this event. The session included a practical demonstration simulating the Hajj rites with a particular focus on tawaf around the Holy Kaaba. The aim was to provide pilgrims with a clear and practical understanding of these rites, while familiarizing them with the organizational procedure to be followed in the holy places. Pilgrims also received medical advices from the health committee that will be accompanying them, focusing on disease prevention and presenting the medical services that will be available to them on site. The event was enriched by speeches from ulema who addressed the profound spiritual dimensions of the Hajj. They stressed the importance of mental and spiritual preparation for this sacred journey, encouraging pilgrims to imbibe the profound meanings of obedience and closeness to God, Allah, through the rites in order to maximize the spiritual benefit of this experience. This year, 1,400 Djiboutian pilgrims will be making the Hajj and will be transported to the holy places on 4 flights organized by the Flynas airline, with 315 pilgrims per flight. The first flight is scheduled for 8 May. It should be noted that the Ministry of Muslim Affairs organizes this awareness raising session every year as part of its vision to ensure that pilgrims are well prepared to perform their rites in a smooth, safe, and spiritually enriching manner. For his part, the director of Muslim Affairs underlined the importance of this initiative aimed at strengthening the religious awareness of pilgrims. He emphasized the ministry's commitment to preparing them spiritually, physically, and logistically, that they can perform the Hajj rites in the best possible conditions. He also stressed the need for complete preparations for the Hajj season, assuring that the ministry is mobilizing all the necessary means to guarantee the safety, serenity, and well-being of pilgrims throughout their journey. The Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, today received a courtesy visit of His Excellency Mr. Charles Karamba, Ambassador of the Republic of Rwanda, accompanied by his delegation at Camp Sheikh Osman. This meeting comes on the highly symbolic day of 17 April, which marks the 31st commemorations of the genocide perpetrated against the Tutsi in Rwanda in 1994. On this occasion, General Zakaria expressed his solidarity with the Rwandan people, praising the remarkable resilience they have shown since this tragedy, as well as the progress made in national reconstruction. He also reiterated the Republic of Djibouti's attachment to the memory of the victims and to the prevention of all forms of hatred, divisions, and attacks on human dignity. This visit marked by gravity and respect bears witness to the shared desire of Djibouti and Rwanda to strengthen their friendly relations. On this occasion, General Zakaria expressed his solidarity with the Rwandan people, praising the remarkable resilience they have demonstrated since this tragedy, as well as the progress made in national reconstruction. And as part of strengthening the operational capacity of the Djiboutian Coast Guard, a ceremony to rehabilitate the Djiboutian Coast Guard Kora Angar surveillance post was held this morning, April 16, 2025, within the Kora Angar post, co-chaired by the prefect of Obok, Musa Adam Migane, and the commander of the Coast Guard, Colonel Wais Omar Bogore, in the presence of Mr. Harakeshi, ambassador of Japan to Djibouti, and the deputy regional director of IOM, Ms. Nihan Erdogan, and the head of the IOM missions in Djibouti, Ms. Tania Pacifico, the president of the Obok Regional Council, the commander of the Obok Joint Regiment. This colorful ceremony was also attended by local elected officials, Coast Guard officers, and local officials from various institutions and dignitaries from the region. Tania Pacifico, IOM head of missions in Djibouti, spoke, emphasizing the importance of strengthening the Kora Angar monitoring post.
This visit, this ceremony is the crown of my visit to Djibouti. Not only because it's an excellent example of the cooperation between the government of Djibouti here, the government of Japan and IOM, but also my background is search and rescue. I did search and rescue in the sea, in my home country. So I also have my heart in IOM's work here. I'm very much looking forward to seeing the facilities and discuss with the excellencies on how they see the future of our cooperation.
Following the official ceremony marking the rehabilitation of Korangar Post monitoring post, the authorities present and unveiled the inauguration plaque, symbolically marking the commissioning of the new facilities. This formal ceremony was followed by a guided tours of the new infrastructure, modernizing thanks to financial support from the Japanese government and technical collaboration from the IOM. Officials were able to discover the new operational capabilities of the post, now better equipped to accommodate migrants in distress. And ensure enhanced surveillance of the northern coastline. The facilities include a redesignated reception area located in a highly strategic areas. Korangar monitoring post plays a key role in the fight against human trafficking. This inauguration marks a significant step forward in strengthening the Djiboutian Coast Guard maritime security and humanitarian assistance capabilities. For his part, Colonel Wais Omar Bogore first spoke to welcome and thanked the various officials for their presence at this ceremony. He emphasized at length the importance of strengthening the Korangar surveillance stations, which is now better equipped and better suited to welcoming migrants in distress at sea in better condition. He highlighted the efforts of the IOM and the project funding from Japan. Ms. Nihan Erdogan, Deputy Regional Director of the IOM, praised the strengthening of the Korangar post as a major step forward in assisting migrants in distress at sea. For his part, His Excellency Harukeshi, Ambassador of Japan to Djibouti, also highlighted the implementations of the project funded by Japan, which is a crucial importance. Ms. Tania Pacifico highlighted the implementation of the project funded by Japan, which is a crucial importance in helping migrants. Musa Adam Migane, the prefect of Obok, who closed the species, praised the locations of this control and surveillance post of the Djibouti Coast Guard Korangar maritime coastlines, which is eminently strategic since it is an area where human trafficking is concentrated. For the international scene, global trade expected to decline by 1.5%. The World Trade Organization has indicated that the volume of global merchandise trade is likely to decline by 0.2% this year. These forecasts of decline global trade are justified by the changing tariff policies of U.S. President Donald Trump, according to the World Trade Organization report. This decline in trade will be particularly pronounced in North America, even without the highest tariffs. The World Trade Forum expects exports to fall by 12.6% and imports by 9.6% this year. The World Trade Organization based its report on the tariff situations as of Monday, April 14, 2025. Initially, 2025 and 2026 were expected to see continued expansions in global trade, but Trump's trade war forced the WTO economists to substantially revise their forecasts downward. And this is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.